Welcome. Morning, my English student, dear learner. I am Dr Abhimanyu Kumar, Department of English, Barhiya. Today, we will discuss Neoclassicism, Neoclassicism, that is Augustine's period. Augustine's period and Neoclassicism, I have used two terms. I have used two terms in the sense because Neoclassicism came between the Restoration period and French Revolution. This is the point you understand Englishman. Augustus was king of Roman Empire. So the literature, the language borrowed from Greek, and then it translated into French, and then it came in Neoclassicism writer. This is the focal point, central point, dear learner. Now my English student, Englishman, you know the literature of that period. What type of literature in Neoclassicism? The literature was not emotional, not nature, but it was imaginative. The scholar, the intellectual hub was accepted that the literature should be not focused on nature, rather it is imaginative, periodic. That was the restraint of paramount and paradigm Neoclassicism age, that is Augustus king age of Roman Empire. Dear learner, the central point, the focal point which I will touch, the Neoclassicism, is the poetry, the culture, the painting of that period is amazing in the sense that the characteristics of the Neoclassicism is believed in intellectual hub, not in creating romance, emotion, but rather it was the literature of imaginative, periodical. Now, the 19th century Romantic movement broken the barrier of this Neoclassicism, Restoration period, and Augustus says. Augustus says why it is said. The Roman Empire was Augustus king, imperial king. He has given full freedom to writer to write and speak, as we found in 16th century Elizabethan period Renaissance innovations, Renaissance Reformation in 16th century during the Queen of Elizabeth of England. Now the British literature, impact of British literature was dystopia before Renaissance. Now, dear learner, my English man, English student, I would like to focus you that after Second World War, when the modern and post-modern writer came, They have broken the old barriers of English literature, and the English language became the language of capitalist. It was not the language of Dalit and marginalized people of the world. It was the language of capitalist. After Second World War happens, postmodern writers and modern writers have broken all the barriers, limitations of literature, art, printing, and the language became the language of capitalist, not the Dalit and marginalized people. This language sensibility is. As we know, it is well known proverb that coming events cast their shadows before. Child shows the man as morning shows the days. Common proverb of English you must know because you are an Englishman reading English. You have appetite for English. That's why you have opted this subject. You will do better in English, I hope. And you are listening my lecture very carefully. I am teaching you, giving lecture on neoclassicism. Very difficult period. So it is difficult to digest you. So I will suggest you to read English History of Literature by Kazamiya, Lewis and Blamires. Three writers. Three writers' view must keep in mind, then it becomes obvious about the history of English literature. What is this? What happens? Because it is mandatory for you, compulsion for you to know the ages in which writer came, in which ages, what was the position, political, social and economical at that time, and how the writers succeeded, why they not succeeded before Renaissance, what was the impact of dystopia on history of English literature, the contemporary trends on impact of English literature. This is the basic concept which you must keep in mind after reading the three books, three view of English literature, as I have said you. The English became the Commonwealth language, language of capitalist, not the Dalit and marginalized people of the world. Who cares? Now you know that in this world not everybody exists. Someone exists. Someone exists means who has power and money. They will exist on this world. That is why it is said, this is how we can say that not everybody exists. For instance, what good is justice to a starving a man? He cannot eat or drink it. What good is freedom of that type of man? Justice is always the interest of a stronger. Remember this point. So, dear learner, as if an English student, Englishman, now you know very few people in India who reads English. And Professor of English like Dr Abhimanyu Kumar is giving you lecture on neoclassicism. That is pseudo-classicism, it can also be said. Because literature takes a U-turn in 19th century after the Restoration period and the end of neoclassicism, the era of King Augustus takes a U-turn. Then when romantic 19th century movement came. Despite this, welcome back again, the central and focal point of neoclassicism. The King Augustus was very well human being but stupid. Now I will use a term, virtuous fool. The king was a well human being but stupid, and he was virtuous fool. He maintained the empire. He saved the kingdom. Was imperialist. How virtuous fool? Virtuous means ability, merit, everything. But foolish, how? Can you say? No. Through choice, through decision, we may say virtuous fool. A stupid in the sense, king was well human being. Well human means with disciplined manner. That is the basic point of neoclassicism, that they respect the literature of Roman, Greek in neoclassicism. Respected literature, they followed, they borrowed. And even respect that type of literature which have come from Rome, French. I hope that you understand my point. What is the central and focal point of neoclassicism? Augustus period in the history of English literature, in the history of British literature. You must know English people has a rich English potentiality, rich sensibility. It is commonly accepted. And English is taught almost 20 rich countries of the world. India is a poor country, but British ruled in India, so he left this language, English, and it became a courtier language, official language, literature, law, medical, science, everybody, English is there. You know how a language succeeds, how English language became international language. Language succeeds on the basis of utility. English language has utility, not Sanskrit, Hindi, Bangla, Urdu, Farsi. That's why these are the languages could not succeed and English succeeded. Because it has utility. Language succeeded on the basis of utility. Language is a living thing. With the change in social setup, automatically there is a change in the use of language. And English literature heightens the awareness of human life. It is deep and fathomless social. Literature cannot be still. As there is a seminar held in National Seminar in Munger University, and the emeritus professor, eminent professor came not only from India, from abroad, Africa, Australia. I was giving lecture on data religion. The impact on contemporary trends, impact of contemporary trends on British literature is data religion, humanism, general humanism, data humanism, orientation, alienation, and the Second World War after modern writers, what they did, post-modern, which lecture I given in university, and it creates convulsion nature, considers my powerful power of experience. I have enormous intellectual power that can build up for such technology. My proprietary stance have been precipitable in human thoughts and sensibility. As an Englishman, my dear learner of English, must keep in mind what Dr. Abhimanyu is teaching you. An Englishman, a North India scholar, Dr. Abhimanyu is got doctorate on Henry Miller, a sensitive writer in American English literature. You must aware, you must read more about English literature, American literature. I used to speak a Italian word, bugli. That means corroboration, resemble in India, to match with English literature. Mugli is an Italian word. Sorry, I have used some foreign word because you are a student of English. You must read Italian, Scandinavian, French, German, Latin English. That is why, this is how I have used this term, Italian word. So, you must keep in mind and prepare again and read more. Coming to the last point, touching the last characteristics of neoclassicism. This neoclassicism has a amazingly touching English literature, and the point is there is no touch of nature, no touch of emotion, rather it is imaginative. Intellectual hub accepted. The writers were Horace, Petrarch. They were in the intellectual hub, the scholar hub. So the writer of that age accepted that it is not needed, not compulsion, not mandatory to introduce romance in neoclassicism literature, but it is not imaginative, based on reason, reality, touches the real things of the literary events they present in neoclassicism. This is the focal central point we are learning. Now, all of us at last come into conclusion. Thus I am nullifying, about to conclude. Long live the comma, long live tolerance, long live ignorance. Now, I have finished my lecture at that point. Okay, thank you, with good wishes.